Today we get to chat with the incredibly funny and extremely talented Brendon Small discussing everything Metalocalpypse and Dethklok. I hope you enjoy.
Hello, this is Nika.
Hi, this is Brendon Small. Do we have an interview scheduled now?
We do, yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, here I am.
Thank you. Yeah, the last time we chatted was on video, and it's so funny because you would think phones would be like easier, but I get so discombobulated when it's like phone interviews.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why that is.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I don't know. Just get through it as best as I can, right? I think it's just like something about not looking someone in the face that like throws off maybe my awkward personality a little bit more.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine.
No, for sure. And we've chatted before, so, and I know how easy to talk to you are, and so.
Yeah, and you're in Idaho, right? Is that right?
I am, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Now I'm off.
We actually saw you on the headliner tour that you guys did with Dragon Force and Necrogoblicon, which I thought was the funnest lineup. I remember when I first saw it, I thought that is the most bizarre lineup, but yet it also made sense. And I kind of felt a little bit like worried about Dragon Force because I thought, well, they're totally different than the other two. But man, people even that love death metal or love, whatever you call Necrogoblicon, just absolutely love Dragon Force. It was so cool. It was one of the best shows. It's me and my son's top show, and we go to a lot of shows.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice to hear. Yeah, I mean, this is this Amon Amarth Castle Rat thing is kind of it's the same philosophy. It's built in the same ideas that the band's. I guess you could say that they're somewhat in the same genre, but to me, it doesn't really matter as long as it's heavy music and the bands that we're playing with are putting on some kind of a show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which obviously
because if you're going out to see, if you're going through the trouble to see a live show, you may as well see something that's just crazy, over the top, bombastic, where every single artist has put a lot of thought into what the audience is not only hearing but also seeing. And I think that's it's the ultimate fight against AI is going out and doing stuff.
Right. Oh my gosh, and what a fight I'm sure that's becoming for so many artists, which is just heartbreaking and revolting, to be honest.
The truth is that, people really get a lot out of being at shows. And AI can't compete with that. So, not yet, at least, until they can. But right now, we still have this.
Thank goodness. And I just can't imagine. There's something about the human experience that I just don't think AI is going to be able to navigate or be able to top. There's something about that energy exchange between humans that I just don't see being replaced.
Well, I think once you start letting, there are a lot of things I think AI is going to help creative people with, but generating stuff is not something that we need any help with. And then furthermore, I think, just the thing that I think is really exciting and worth being evangelical about is heavy metal live there's nothing else that matches that. Mm-hmm. There's nothing else that matches that energy that you can go to. You can go see sports, you can go see the opera. You're going to get a lot out of that stuff, but nothing's going to come close to that electric feeling of heavy music being played live in front of you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. We just last weekend went down to Salt Lake for 2 shows back to back that were both sold out because my son is turning 18 tomorrow. So it was something that we were kind of doing for
happy birthday.
Yeah, pretty crazy. And it's cool because like I, was in my 20s when Metalocalpypse came out, and so I was, younger and was able to really have like a fun experience seeing something that was such a huge part of my culture that, a lot of people, I come from a small town in southeastern Idaho. I was the only metalhead, nobody else got it. Nobody else understood it. So it was cool to see on screen feel like a part of a community that I never got, you know? So it's been fun seeing my son also experience that as a metalhead in a different small town in Idaho, and be able to kind of have that same experience through the same show, which I just think is such a wonderful thing that you have given so many people. You know,
well, that's nice of you to say. Yeah, it's fun. You know, like that's part of the fun of this show is I knew that you know, going back 20 years ago to the inception of the show, or I guess it was 2005 when the show was sold and the concept was kind of built, but the idea I thought was like, look, here we are in this crazy animation landscape of Adult Swim. It's late night TV. You're kind of supposed to be in bed already. You're kind of not, you kind of feel like you're sneaking around to go see it. So there's something kind of exciting, especially if you're like a teenager. There's something about, and then also seeing something that's not necessarily represented anywhere else in television. Maybe, you know, at the time, you know, VH1 classics, like maybe acknowledged heavy metal a little bit, but not a lot of other people. And lots of us it was a big part of our lives. And it was also very big, you know, it was just like kind of very much expanding at that time. So to see something kind of represented that's never represented was kind of a dream of mine, because I remember being a teenager, being excited by guitar and heavy music, and not seeing it represented anywhere was always that's kind of like something clicked to me and thought, wouldn't it be cool to turn on the TV and see, you know, an animated show where people are playing guitars and there's crazy double kicks and sweep arpeggios and fun stuff like that. Wouldn't that be fun? So yeah, so that's part of the fun of making this show.
So 20 years, which is just wild, I'm sure, to say out loud and see that there's been this demand once again, you know, because there was a little bit of dormancy for a while there. I think when we first had chatted is when right before the new movie had come out. I can't remember. I think the album was supposed to come out at the same day. I was able to access the album, but I wasn't able to access the movie yet. So it was like right around that time when everything was kind of amping back up. And you guys haven't stopped since then. 20 years ago, when you started this whole adventure, did you have any indication or any idea that it could turn into and morph into what it has?
You know, it's funny. I get asked this question sometimes, and I don't think I've got a good answer, because all I was trying to do at the time when this show was coming out was to create a cool job for myself, and you know, basically, you know, when you run a TV show, it turns into a triage center, and you're just trying to fix stuff and make sure everything kind of gets out on time, and you know, herd cats, which is like, you know, creative people around you, from animators to directors to, you know, all these really hyper intelligent artists around you, and all you're trying to do is survive. So thinking too far in the future didn't really help us. So It's crazy, you know. In 2019, we got this call to like kind of to ask, you know, what our interest was in coming back and playing the show in 2019, right? And that kind of kicked the door open again for this thing that we're doing now. And that's when I started thinking, oh, what could we do live? What could we do? Can we build a movie? Can we build all this stuff? Can we finally get all this stuff going? And that's kind of like what's, I guess, now that feels like we've been on this run for 7 years that's gotten us this movie and all these tours, and we've gone to Europe for the first time ever. We've gone to Australia for the first time ever, and connected with people who had a, you know, really strong awareness of the project over there. So these are things I could never have thought, predicted, or anything. It's just fun to be able to in about a week from now, I'll be on the road playing my guitar for a living, and that's the craziest thing, is that somehow in this crazy atmosphere of creativity and TV and all this stuff, that I somehow secured a job to be a performing guitar player.
Have you
so to me, that's,
yeah, what a blessing, and what an amazing thing to be able to accomplish and do in life, you know. I mean, obviously it's a lot of work. It's not like it's easy.
Well, no, but I mean, it's really crazy, because I have a huge amount of respect for working musicians, you know, people that, you know, have these literally like gig-based lifestyles where they've got to survive based on the notion of music. I think the people that I play with, from Gene Hoglan to Pete Griffin to Nilly Brosh, they all are crazy hustlers who really bust their asses so they can kind of survive, keep the lights on, and be working musicians. So it's a really interesting thing. I don't know what that really has to do with anything, but it's something that I respect a lot, and it's fun to be able to do this. So that also kind of goes back to the 20-year ago thing, where here I was, I was a music school graduate. I had worked on another TV show that I guess I co-created called Home Movies. That was incredibly different than this whole project, but super fun, super creative, and a really great group of people. And when you finish a show, you kind of wonder, like, should I keep doing this or shouldn't I? Is there something that kind of tops the last show? Can I do something that feels different enough to be excited about? And the answer, of course, was Metalocalpypse, which was like such a left turn. And it used the skill set. So, I mean, the skill set's kind of fused in my brain. So 20 years going by, it doesn't feel like 20 years. But it also does. I mean, it's definitely been 20 years, sometimes I wonder if it's been 30 years.
You're like, my body says it's been longer.
I have no concept of how time, especially since post-pandemic, I have no concept of how time has been passing. So I don't know. Again, this is just a jumbled mess that doesn't really answer your question. What does it feel like for 20 years to have passed? And the answer is I don't know.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. The last time we chatted, I asked you. It was still one of my favorite answers of any interview I've ever done. I asked you who was your favorite out of the 5 characters, and you said, I hate them all. They're all just 5 dipshit assholes that live rent free in my head. And it's something. You know how sometimes you'll get like a saying from a movie or something that'll just kind of get stuck in your head. That's one of those sayings that made me laugh so hard that it's just been like a revolving theme in my head for the last 3 years.
Well, and sadly, I mean, the truth of it is I created some people that I think were, they do have, we had to kind of like, they started out such kind of like bereft of immorality or anything, and there are these, this is a show about celebrityism at the end of the day, and these celebrities were kind of the celebrities that were kind of lampooning, I think, were taking over the slots of the people that were not necessarily talented were kind of taking over the airwaves. People that were famous not for having done anything of, there wasn't it wasn't the same kind of meritocracy that I grew up with, in that, actors who were great actors would be known, musicians who were writing the greatest music would be known. This was about people who were just kind of being celebrities and that's kind of the world we live in now. So 20 years of celebrityism has begotten, reality host that's a president and, things like that. So you see like what celebrity has got in this country, and our show is basically a nightmare of these idiotic celebrities. However, it got to be about heavy metal. In addition to lampooning something, we got to kind of have fun with the world of heavy metal and celebrate the guitar, as far as I was concerned.
Well, and those characters also evolved. Like it was.
Yeah. Well, that's the ending of the whole show too. Is that's why I wanted to come back and do this movies, because if they don't kind of grow a little bit, then this has been a total waste of time nightmare. So they have to have some kind of an arc to fill. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know why I'd get out of my seat,
Well, now that you have seen how, again, much high in demand and how beloved this project and Dethklok has been to so many people all throughout the years, from the generation of who grew up with it to even the younger generation, I did talk to you last time about like potentially doing like another a branch of this, or doing, because that story is completed, so doing like another story with either these same characters or potentially even different characters, is that something that, I mean, I'm sure you're going a million miles an hour, so maybe even not even something you've thought about, but is that something?
Well, no. This question comes up often, and it's crazy because we live in this kind of IP world now where, you know, people don't put as much attention on new stuff. They kind of want to repurpose old stuff, and I guess that's an advantage to me personally. I don't know if that's an advantage to anybody else, but these characters, you know, I remember when I was doing the movie, the head of the network said, "You're not going to kill all these guys, are you?" And I go, "Why?" I said, "It might be nice to know if they kind of survive this." And I go, "Well, yeah, really, why?" And he's like, "Well, I mean..." And so, I mean, there's been this kind of tease that maybe something can happen, but it's you know, that stuff is out of my control. Truthfully, I know that there's a whole, like, you know, just the stuff that the audience has seen about this band in their lives and everything is just what they've seen. There's so many gaps that inside of their worlds that no one has seen. And it would be fun, you know, at some point to, I say that knowing, you know, the treachery of making a television show, but it could potentially be fun to explore areas that we haven't explored before. And that's basically, you know, regardless of what the timeline is, forget about, like, continuing forward in the future. It could be something that took place in the past. Who knows? Yeah. So these are just notions, ideas, whatever. It's a possibility. You know, the amount of money it costs to make a TV show is, you know, it's much more than making a record. It's much more than making, you know, it's like, you know, on par with making a movie. That's how much it costs to make a TV show. Even a cheap TV show like ours. Like ours is always, like, very, very budget conscious. But there's a way to do it. I mean, we've got like, you know, here I am. We're doing, like, concert visuals to add some new kind of fun to the live show. And we basically have access to the archives of the art. So what we're kind of doing is wandering around in this junkyard and finding bits and pieces to tell story with and to build cool, you know, epic musical, you know, iterations and all that stuff. So, you know, it's possible that we could stay inside of that junkyard and keep on collecting stuff and build stuff out of it. Someone would just have to give us a green light.
Right. Have you thought of, I don't even know how this would even go, but doing like a live action version?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's kind of funny because, you know, the one thing that I really do love, I do like live action a lot. I mean, I prefer to, unless I'm watching super gorgeous bespoke animation or really well written comedy, I'm not that interested in animation. I'm more interested in, you know, people and cameras and landscapes and, you know, but yeah, the fun thing about doing this with animation and the way that animation works so well in my mind is that it kind of feels like it's like recording music to me. You can kind of, you know, like in recording music, I can stack up guitar harmonies and sound like, you know, 6 guitar players at once. And same thing with animation. I can be one person and sound like 5 or 6 people at once. You know, and that's what's really exciting about animation. Live action is wonderful and cool because hopefully what you can do is capture human spontaneity, and you know, there's a possibility that something like that could really work. But it's not that, you know. But you know what? The more that like CGI and live action kind of cross over, and this is where, like, you know, beneficial, helpful toolkit AI could work, where, you know, you could kind of treat live action like, I mean, I know some directors that do, like, change what lips are saying in movies. Like David Fincher reanimates lips to change dialogue in post, you know, because, you know, as you're making stuff, it's your right to iterate and find a better version. Anyway, I'm going all over the map saying, wouldn't it be interesting? Sure, I agree.
Yes. I think it would be super fun to see them in human form. I mean, we know who they are, you know, somewhat based off of in human form in real life, but obviously those are musicians, not necessarily actors. So you'd have to probably find a whole new slew of different people. But still, I think it would be super fun.
Could be. Who knows?
I did want to ask about, so your live show, you have to, it's, kind of goes by a script because you have to go with what's going on in the background with the animations in the background.
Yeah.
I did notice though, and I don't know if this was like just a creative idea or if you had to do it this way because of the animation in the back, but you guys on stage are shadows. Like you can't hardly see you guys. Now, is that because so you could see the screen better, or is that just how you wanted it so it looked like it was coming from the band versus the people that don't look like the band, right?
Right. Well, that's okay. So there is a lot of thought behind that decision because, and this is something that I've thought about and said a few times in front of people. But like one of them is that look, we don't look anything like the band, but as it turns out, we sound exactly like them.
Right. Weird.
You know what I mean? And which can be kind of strange for people or unnerving. And I have said this many times too, and this is my joke, that I am bad for the brand.
Because you're just a regular guy.
I'm just a regular guy, exactly, that spent a lot of time, working out the guitar and working out music and all that stuff. So it's my job, I think, to stay out of the way and to not interrupt the hypnosis between the visual and the audio. I am basically in a pit band. So the joke for ourselves is we don't call ourselves Dethklok. We call ourselves the Metalocalpypse players. In that, we're not really supposed to, we're supposed to embody the feeling behind, like in my mind, like I am acquiring the same thing that I think I need to when I do Nathan's voice. And again, my job is to play it like the record, to really kind of just dig in and to nail it, the guitar parts, the vocals, all that stuff. But I'd rather have you guys, I don't want to break your imagination, which is why I'd rather remain a shadow and remain a mystery. Plus, again, I was talking earlier about creating the ultimate job for myself. This is kind of the sweet spot. With my personality, to be on the center of the stage, to be the lead singer and the lead guitar player, but also to be in the shadows makes a lot of sense for my personality.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And it's funny because it does seem like even some metal frontmen are very shy. Like if you talk to them off stage, they're very shy. So it's so interesting to see that dynamic, and that makes so much sense to be able to not have the spotlight right in your face or feel like you have to like perform. I mean, you're playing very complicated music, and so to not feel like you're having to jump around stage and do all that stuff too.
There's some singers who guitar players that sing kind of have to be locked to one area anyway, just because that's where their guitar pedal board is, that's where their microphone is, and there's not a lot of twirling around and running here and there. I'm locked to that microphone most of the time. So and we also the thing is like consider going to the ballet. We are the pit band that you don't see usually. The ballet is above you,
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is create the true kind of scary part of trying to nail exactly the same tempo, lockstep with the picture every single night is the real kind of like is the real challenge, and that's a fun challenge, and as long as it's scary and fun, I think we'll keep on being interested. If it gets too easy, I may get bored.
I have to just change it up a little bit then. Do you have another person coming right up? I want to make sure that I'm respecting your time.
I've got until 11:30, I think, because what I have to do after this is jump back into the sessions, because we go down to the wire on these things, and we're producing, the big final piece, and it takes a while. For
sure, yeah. Yep, totally understandable. Well, I did wanted to quickly talk about Jason Richardson. That's someone that you have been spending a lot of musical time with. My son is a huge fan. He uses Jason Richardson picks. He's been learning XIV, Born of Osiris. My son is a beast on the guitar.
Nice.
So he is heavily influenced by him. So it's been really cool to hear you comfortably say how influenced you have been just recently from him as well, or, over the years from him as well, with him being the younger guy. I always appreciate the humbleness of musicians musicians when it comes to some of the younger artists and them giving them, you know, like their props and everything, and saying that there's still like things you could learn from the younger generation. And stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, guitar is something that, I mean, it's so funny. I've learned and forgotten how to play guitar several times over in my life. And it all comes back, you know, when you wake up the right muscles. The other thing is, you know, like, you can get into bad habits with guitar, just like anything else, just like eating habits, just like exercising or whatever. All those things can happen. So you just have to kind of maintain them to a degree. And watching Jason play on the Baby Metal, first of all, like, the first night, I picked Jason to be on that show just because I think he's such an impressive player. Mm-hmm. And I love the guitar, so I wanted to have a slot on that show where we really just focus on the virtuosity of a player, because that's kind of how I became good, was appreciating people like him. Yeah. And he really is an above and beyond kind of a player, and he's very inspiring. It's inspiring to see that he can he has the control to do what he wants to do and the patience to learn how to do it right. And so somewhere, I think, yeah, so immediately we became very friendly, and he's a really nice guy, and we've hung out many times since then. And one day I said, you know, get whatever your lesson rate is, charge me for it, because I want you to basically, like a golfer, like, watch my swing and tell me where I'm fucking up, basically, you know? Yeah. And I was, like, over-tensing in some kind of ways, and just, you know, basically doing too much to achieve something that could be achieved that was a little bit more comfortably. Mm-hmm. And also, like, you know, it's funny. There are two ways of playing a show. You can, like, you can ride a bucking bronco where you're holding on for dear life, or you can, you know, masterfully, you know, ride a horse and be very comfortable. Both of them work. One of them will make your life longer, I think. Right. So it's tricky, and also the way that, you know, our show is not for the faint of heart. You know, if you're going to play music with Dethklok, it is perpetual motion from the very beginning to the very end. We do not give up, and so there's a way to kind of mentally attack that too, which is very helpful. And sometimes it's just like going like, wait a minute, let me do a quick posture recheck on my guitar playing. Oh yeah. I can access more notes if I put my thumb behind the neck. I can like relax if I switch up my picking style just a little bit more. So, and then on top of that, he's got good philosophies. He had a great teacher too, and he's just a likable dude. So, and he just can play his ass off, and he's very inspiring. So, it's always, you know, from being young to being my age now, it's always an important thing to be around people who are better at their job than you are, because you'll slowly get better too. Absolutely. Yep, I agree.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate your time. I appreciate chatting with you again. I look forward to hopefully being able to chat with you in the future, because I always have a million other questions that I want to ask you.
Absolutely. Well, no problem. I've got like probably a minute if you have one final question you want to ask.
Yeah. So I know that you get a lot of gifts over the years. I've seen you post a bunch of them. Oh, yeah. It's so many cool things. Is there one that's been like either your favorite or is like totally thrown you off?
You know, I mean, I think the ones that kind of stick with me is I've gotten some analyses of the show from people who really get interested in characters, and you know, I know I like happened upon a whole group of people who are very interested in Magnus Hammersmith, who is an ex-Dethklok guitar player who had a very tragic kind of a story, and it's been really interesting to me to find that people their heart goes out. They feel so sympathetic for this character, where he was built to be kind of, you know, I mean, you know, at some point you're kind of doing a math equation. You're creating these characters, and you need an interrupter to come in and to kind of like, you know, start contouring the narrative, and to start shifting things, to start moving things around, and to take away or to add to, whatever it is. And that was kind of the equation of Magnus. Plus, I also thought Toki was never Dethklok's original guitar player. Who is that? And so I think it'd be interesting. But I saw so many people. It's really funny because every action that Magnus took was kind of a violent one, a negative one, one that kind of interrupted the flow of creativity. And I was really interested to find that people still, after all that, found some kind of sympathy with the character. And so I think that's something that's interesting, just people's iteration or interpretation. Or the other thing that I find really fascinating is, the fan ships or the Yumi ships, all that stuff is really fascinating to me because it's almost like you've given all these kind of characters or action figures away to people and say, create your own narratives. And that's kind of the fun part about having a show like this, is to watch people create their own narratives from, like, either loving to psychosexual to unique or personal or whatever it is. It seems like it's really a fascinating thing from my point of view, knowing these characters as, what I think is kind of important in writing is to both kind of appreciate your characters and to treat them like rag dolls, throw them down the stairs, flush them down the toilet, set them on fire, but also to go like, let's also see if they can change enough in this arc to still kind of acknowledge morality and humanity.
Right. No, yeah,
Yeah.
take something that you have created and turn it into their own kind of project and love. That's got to be such a cool thing.
It's very both exciting and strange from my point of view, but I hope they never stop doing it.
That's really cool. I'm not surprised that that's something that people do. So I'm sure that is a really neat thing to be able to see other people, take these people and turn them into...
It's pretty fun, yeah. And then I just love that people get inspired to do any kind of art thing, because the artists on our show are, super, super, super talented. So to me, it's a real kind of... it's a real compliment to the team that I worked with to see people taking characters, worlds, backgrounds, and all that stuff and, adding to the story, playing with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again much for taking this time. I hope that the rest of your day goes wonderful, and I'm excited to see you guys on the road again.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking an interest in this whole project over the years.
Oh my gosh, of course. It's been kind of a journey to go along with you. I know it's been a lot, obviously crazier and more headachy on your end, but boy, on our end, it's been such a pleasure to be able to continue to be a part of. So thank you.
Well, it's always fun for me, so I appreciate it. Okay. Have a great day and happy birthday to Hendrix.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
All right. I'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.